Another aspect of Mary's association with HDH soon developed. Brian Holland became Mary's lover, according to Mary. Hold it. Hold the fuck on. Did Diana know about this? Somebody need to give Lulu a job, for real. What is Lulu's skills? He ain't got no skills. He's just very lovable. As on the first Motown review tour, Wells spent a lot of time talking to David Ruffin, who would soon be named the new lead singer of the Temptations. Rumors flew about an alleged affair between the two. Wells later insisted that although Ruffin lavished consoling words on her about her problems with Herman Griffin as they rolled across America in the crowded Motown Review bus, nothing happened between them because she was still married to Griffin. Even though the other artists who would get together in the hotel lobby after the show to socialize and often to pair off, she reverted to her default mode when unattached and off stage. She skipped the socializing and stayed alone in her room. Oh, you know what I want to know, y'all? When she saw the magic stick, meaning Otis Williams, canoodling with Flo, was she jealous? I'm telling you, them relationships ain't nothing but a merry-go-round. If you wait long enough, you'll get the bitch you want. You know, whether she on a rebound or, strung out on drugs, broken, homeless. You'll get her, okay? You just gotta wait to get her. Or him, whatever it is. After divorcing Griffin, however, Wells lightened up and engaged in an affair with Ruffin that lasted for about 6 months, she said. He fell in love with me and wanted to marry me, but I was so much into my career. Girl, you dodged a bullet. Because you know that Davy Ruffin got hands, girl. He can't keep his hands to himself, and he got a lot of issues, girl. You thought Griffin was bad when he was around there fucking them prostitutes in front of your friend? Ooh, now David Ruffin is not known to, hunch on prostitutes. But what David Ruffin is known for is taking his girlfriend's car, driving it to the heart of Kensington. Is that place where it is all them zombies walking around? Is it Kensington in Pennsylvania? Oh, that place is terrible. Oh, that place is terrible. He fell in love with me and wanted to marry me, but I was so much into my career. That didn't prevent her from fuming over Ruffin's lady-killing prowess. Ooh, man, David Ruffin, man, he got them big old eyes and them thick old glasses and that long head with that comb, but I know he is something, to contend with, baby. And he over 6 feet tall and can sing. David was a good-looking guy, and he still is a fine-looking guy. Girl. Did y'all see him in that Jerry curl wig? David was a good-looking guy, and he still is a fine-looking guy, she said in early 1991, shortly before Ruffin's death. The girls would be hanging all over him. I would be backstage watching him, and I would get jealous. Then he would get jealous when I went out there. So I said, this is not going to make it. This is just totally ridiculous. She soon broke up with Ruffin. So the author, Nora Murray Wilson, going to touch on the fact that she didn't had 2 of the Temptations? Okay, better press on. Murray was somewhat perturbed when she returned to Motown from the tour to learn that the last 2 records she had produced under Smokey Robinson's direction, Laughing Boy, backed with the bluesy 2 Wrongs Don't Make a Right, and Your Old Standby, backed with What Love Has Joined Together, were not doing as well as her previous 3 records. So in line with Motown's system of rotating artists among different songwriters and producers until a new magic combination was found, Mary was allowed to do a second song with HDH. Working with HDH was different than working with Robinson. They were more precise. They were more like a computer, Murray said. Eddie Holland wanted everything right to the T. Murray said that although Brian Holland could play piano and sing too, he usually stayed relatively quiet during these sessions. He was the brains of the operation and worked the hardest. Brian would go without sleep for 2 or 3 days to work on songs while other guys would be out in the streets playing around. Although Brian Holland demurred, saying we all worked equally hard and the other guys didn't play around, Eddie Holland joined Mary in praising his brother's perfectionism. Brian did the arrangements in his head with the musicians, Eddie said, and he was very particular about how the rhythm sounded, how the guitar sounded, and truly meticulous. At the time, Brian was the lead producer of the team, and he, Eddie, was just trying to learn how to write songs. Eddie said that sometimes when he proposed a lyric line, Brian would tell him that it was getting in the way of the guitar rhythm. I'd say, "What rhythm?" And he'd say, "The rhythm I have in my head." And on other occasions, when Brian would be working out the song on the piano, Eddie would make a singing suggestion, and Brian would say, No, I've got another instrument filling up that spot." Gordy hedged his bet with Mary's next record by releasing it with HDH's "You Lost the Sweetest Boy" on one side and Robinson's "What's Easy for Two is So Hard for One" on the other. Mr. Gordy said it was the best thing to do. More important, especially for her morale and Motown's, the record gave Mary her first double-sided hit, an industry rarity. Another aspect of Mary's association with HDH soon developed. Brian Holland became Mary's lover, according to Mary. Hold it. Hold the fuck on. Did Diana know about this? Did Diana Ross know that you was fucking her man, Mary? She around here getting ready to fight that man's wife for the love and affection of him? Brian Holland would not comment on any relationship they may or may not have had, but noted Mary liked me as a person more than the others. Okay, I'm going to expound on that later because Brian Holland, I see you. What you won't do is admit to your wife about Diana Ross and Mary Wells. That's what you won't do. Now, you'll admit Diana. Okay, because remember, I think Brian Holland wrote, "Baby, baby, where did our love go?" Wasn't it? Or was it "Baby Love" that he wrote for Diana? Although he had started out as a Motown vocalist, like Mary's ex-husband, Herman Griffin, Brian's voice had not been heard on record since the first tune he sang tanked, and he moved to songwriting. When Mary told Steve Bergsman about Brian's performance as a songwriter, she had referred to Brian as quiet, stern, and a nerd. But characteristically for Mary, her interest in him was piqued when he started acting as her protector. During recording sessions, when his fellow songwriters would make cutting remarks about mistakes she made, he would glare at them until they were silenced, endearing himself to Wells. Brian Holland said he does not remember doing this, but it could have been true. Let me tell you something. I can't remember solves all problems, because how can you prove that he can recall? Wells now saw Holland, who was already married, not only as a great songwriter who would soon make it to the top, but as a real nice guy, very deep mentally, very educated. But did Diana Ross know? Ooh. That man was cheating on Diana and his wife. She said she was impressed that he had earned good grades at school and that he had been struggling to write hit songs since before she had sung her first composition for Gordy. She said she tried to inspire Holland by working really hard on the songs he gave her. She also realized he needed a lot of encouragement, and she gave it to him. Did Diana know that you was sleeping with her man, girl? Shut up, Lou. According to Mary, Holland proposed to her and as an additional demonstration of his love, organized her 21st birthday celebration at Motown. Hold on, girl. Hold on, Mary. Hold on, Mary. How the hell he gonna propose to you when he already married? What the hell? I mean, that is a trick. It's a trick. It's a trick that married men use when they trying to keep their side hoe happy. I'm sure that's what Kevin Hunter did. While still married to Wendy Williams. But still, how the hell? Holland said he wasn't in charge of the party, although it's possible that his sister, Carol Holland, was. He also said he never proposed to Mary. I was always married. Was you always married when you was screwing around with Diana? Asked why Murray would say something like this. He said, "You can't tell what's going on in that woman's head." Yo, pickle. Murray said that although she was tempted to accept Holland's alleged proposal, her background rose up to oppose her desires. Particularly during this part of her life, Wells said the influence of her religious upbringing was strong. Although I really loved him, the fact that Holland was married persuaded her to ease off on the relationship. Why? How is it that Mary Wells is leaving everybody? Ain't nobody leaving Mary Wells. Not even the married man. In the process of doing that, Mary had a brief affair with a man named Benny Mullins. It may have been her only romance with someone who was not in the music business. Mullins owned a barbershop on Detroit's 12th Street, the main drag of the black community, which catered to theatrical figures. All the big shots went there, Mae James Holler said, and described Mullins, who was single, as the cutest thing, quite good looking. After dating for 2 or 3 months, Mary and Benny became engaged and went so far as to leak their wedding plans to Jet magazine. Good old Jet. The Tasha K of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, pretty much until the magazine became a pamphlet. The Reverend C.L. Franklin, father of singer Aretha Franklin, was going to reside at the July 31st, 1965 ceremony at the New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit. Then something happened. He did something, May remember. He had too many women, and something popped up. Like another girlfriend. Wells, uninterested in taking on another faithless husband, canceled the wedding plans. Later in her career, gossip columnists would link her romantically with Beatle Paul McCartney, baseball superstar Willie Mays, and vocalist Marvin Gaye. She denied ever having any of these alleged liaisons. As a result of the hits, Smokey Robinson, and to a lesser extent, HDH wrote and produced for her, Mary had become a Motown goddess. Its premier female vocalist, a position she would hold without challenge from 1962 to 1964. Her fans, many of them young, reacted with frenzy to Mary's new fame. We would literally have to hide her to get her from the car to where she was performing because the children would tear her apart. Motown singer Mabel John told Susan Whitall. You know Mabel John, Little Willie Junkie John's sister. Brenda Holloway said that at Mary's apogee in the early 1960s, everybody at Motown thought she's an untouchable because she's the one with all the hits. We were wannabes. We were trying to be her. Everything she touched turned to gold. She was Miss Motown. Mary also recorded 3 songs with the Four Tops. Can't Get Out of This Mood, I Remember You, and I've Grown Accustomed to His Face. These songs were likely the products of the Tops' first recording sessions at Motown. Universal was planning to release these previously unreleased tracks. Robinson and Wells, sensing they were on the roll of their lives, marshaled their best talents for a maximum effort. Robinson wrote the music and lyrics for Mary's next songs, which he called My Guy, a rare, upbeat, and jaunty song about love and loyalty. Its tune is light and catchy, and its lyrics memorable. It's hard to write more classic rock lyrics than these. Nothing you can say can tear me away from my guy. Nothing you can do, 'cause I'm stuck like glue to my guy. I'm sticking to my guy like a stamp to a letter. Like birds to their feathers, we stick together. I'm telling you from the start, I can't be torn apart from my guy. The remaining lyrics contain Robinson touches, best described as where polite language meets the streets. Gordy's dream for Motown, after all, had been to produce not the sound of Black America, but in his words, the sound of young America. In My Guy, he certainly succeeded. The song was the epitome of the Motown sound,